Welcome back. You're watching live from Paris on France 24. It's time now to look at some of the online reaction to our top story, that hostage crisis in Algeria. James Creedon has that for us. James, what have you got?
All right, Laura, a lot of reaction on Twitter and in the Algerian media and elsewhere. So we'll take a look at, first of all, Liberté Algérie, one of the Algerian papers. They have an editorial. Is this a war that has started too late? In other words, what they're saying is since 2003, when there was another hostage taking over 30 tourists in the same region, all of them survived, luckily, there's been a strengthening of the Islamist position. Should action not have been taken sooner? Because perhaps now it's already too late, according to some pessimists. This is a cartoon, perhaps not the moment for giggles, etc., but this is the Algerian satirical perspective on what's going on. The south of Algeria is very rich in petrol, in gas, and now in hostages. Yeah. And now, if that's some of the coverage in the Algerian media, look at this tweet in French saying, actually on Algerian TV, all you have is music, reports about the countryside and wildlife, and some more music. So this person saying...
So they're not talking about this hostage crisis so much on state television.
In fact, if you the main Algerian news agency, if you go on their website, which I couldn't get onto earlier, but the top story wasn't even this... hostage taking, which you would think would be the biggest thing that's, news-wise that's going on in Algeria right now.
It has been very difficult to get information verified from the Algerian government and from the Algerian military,
so
of
certainly,
course.
Well, there's criticism in the press. There is on TV and in the news agencies. It seems to be quietened down. Now, Le Monde here is pointing to some concern in the English-speaking media as well. They have taken a look at the New York Times, which has said that they're concerned basically that this could now worsen what was a regional conflict and that the US itself could become a target of Al-Qaeda in the Maghreb. The Los Angeles Times also expressing those concerns that this could now be worsened and that the timing of it wasn't great in terms of France's decision to go in there.
Call, lots of people are saying, aren't they?
Absolutely. And lots of reaction to, Laura, on the social media saying that the hostage-taking in Algeria is a direct result of the intervention in Mali, according to this person, and that Hollande is going to be a victim of the backlash. So that's one person's point of view. I thought this tweet was quite interesting. One person saying, well, Algeria's approach here seems to be quite Russian, sacrifice the hostages. In other words, I suppose Russia has been seen in the past to rush in, perhaps risking the lives of the hostages, but just to end the crisis. And this person here, Carol Potter, also says, well, Hollande said he had trust in Algeria. That was what he said earlier today. And perhaps
it's quite interesting because since then we have heard from the British government and from the French as well, and they are admitting a bit of a lack of information when it came to this raid. I mean, a spokesman for the British Prime Minister saying that Cameron just simply wasn't informed that it was even taking place, and he had to find out himself. So it looks like so
I think there's likely to be a lot of criticism of Algeria for that lack of informing, I suppose, countries what was going on. Lots of uncertainty today as well about the numbers. There was that figure of 34 dead flying around, and one tweet there from a journalist for RFI actually saying to be careful of those numbers. I do not see how Hollande is responsible for this, said one person, because a lot of people were saying Hollande is directly responsible for this crisis. I saw tweets saying exactly that online. And this person here saying, look, it wasn't he who acted.
Because of the intervention in Mali.
Yes, so I suppose it's people joining those dots, perhaps not always 100% accurately, but
that's
with some.
What the terrorists say.
That's it. So this one here, the hostage-taking, is it going to convince France's European partners to get more involved in the war in northern Mali? And finally, this one, a criticism for Bouteflika, saying, hold on a minute, President of Algeria hasn't spoken yet. What about all of the countries who are, worried about their hostages? And there's no compassion here. This isn't normal, says one person in Algeria.
Okay, now another Al-Qaeda offshoot, of course, is Al-Shabaab over in Somalia, in the east of Africa. They have been making some comments on their Twitter page.
That's right, and this afternoon they put up information on their rather controversial Twitter page, HSM Press Office, announcing the death
in English.
In English, that's right. So with a clear intent for it to be for an international audience. This isn't just tweeting within Somalia. Denis Alex is executed. That was the French intelligence officer. Now, France thinks he was already dead for a couple of days. But this same HSM Press Office put up photos of a dead French soldier earlier this week, which raises the question, Europe and elsewhere have been talking about it, these terrorists who tweet. How do you deal with this? Now,
is Twitter going to step in and stop that from happening?
I think that's the big question. There's no sign of it being imminent for now, but if this is a New York Times article from 2011 where the US was actually considering shutting down Al-Shabaab's Twitter account within the US. Now, what happened the next month, January 2012, exactly a year ago, Twitter said, actually, we're giving ourselves the right to selectively censor Twitter within countries on a country-by-country basis. Everybody was saying at the time, oh, Twitter is going to be censoring now, blah, blah, blah. But we see that there were some perhaps worthy moments where Twitter removed anti-Semitic tweets in France. That's only a couple of months ago, the whole "a good Jew" hashtag that caused such controversy here. And before that, on the very first occasion they implemented this rule, neo-Nazi tweets in Germany were taken down within Germany. So a lot of people will be saying, now, hold on a minute, photos of a dead soldier, isn't that worse than neo-Nazi tweets? This is a human being's dead body photographed and put on Twitter.
Twitter is an American company at the end of the day, isn't it? And the United States is at war with Al-Qaeda and its affiliates. So
there's definitely an argument to be made. I think what it always comes down to in these cases is the whole free speech versus support for terrorism dilemma, and it is a dilemma because they've also been making calls for jihad on this Twitter account, and there is a concern that they could even try to recruit people via Twitter. So it's a tough one. Free speech, of course, is important as well, but
certainly throws up some ethical questions, doesn't it? All right, James
Thanks,
Creedon,
Laura.
Thank you very much indeed. All right, we're going to take a short break and leave you with today's web news. Take a look.